The Six Ancient Kilns of Japan. Japan is recognized throughout the world today for its dynamic clay art. Its ceramicists can be found in museum collections from Japan to Europe and the United States. The field is not a new one in Japan, but has evolved over centuries. In fact, there are 6 ancient kiln sites in Japan from which came the most continuous and well-known styles of Japanese ceramics. These are Echizen, Shigaraki, Tokoname, Seto, Tamba, and Bizen, whose communal kilns were set up from the late 8th to the early 14th centuries. Their ceramic traditions continue today. Amongst the 6 sites, one can find one or more of 3 historical wood-fired kiln styles: the tunnel kiln, split bamboo kiln, and multi-chamber climbing kiln. The earliest kilns took the form of the anagama, or tunnel kiln. An anagama is simply a single long chamber built into the side of a hill with an earthen floor and a low arched ceiling made of clay or brick. The chamber is traditionally ovoid in shape so that the ceiling slopes down to meet the floor on all sides. The waradake-gama, or split bamboo kiln, originates from the latter half of the 16th century and was introduced to Japan by Korean potters at Karatsu. The waradake-gama is, like the anagama, built into the side of a hill, with a long brick or clay vault and earthen floor. But unlike its counterpart, the interior is divided into 7 or 8 linked chambers. Each chamber wall has a vent at the base, allowing the flame to travel between the chambers, creating a pattern of up and down drafts, often described as a snake-like flow. The third kiln style, called a nobori-gama, or multi-chamber climbing kiln, originated in the late 16th century and remains the most used kiln today. The nobori-gama has several short brick and clay vaults that climb step-like up the hillside that the kiln is built into. The original nobori-gama had as many as 12 chambers, while modern kilns of this style more commonly have only 3 to 5 chambers. Similar to the split bamboo kiln, each chamber wall has a vent allowing the fire to travel between the chambers. The primary difference in the nobori-gama chamber is the temperature variance. The front chamber, closest to the firebox, burns the hottest, and the heat decreases towards the back. Because the temperatures change from chamber to chamber and are regulated, this type of kiln produces greater variance in the fired ceramics. While the firebox is in the front chamber, each additional chamber has an entrance for loading and unloading clay. These secondary entrances are bricked up during the firing, with only a small hole remaining in each for monitoring and rotating the ceramics during the firing process. The 6 styles. Echizen ware from Fukai Prefecture dates to the late Heian period, about 850 AD. Traditionally utilitarian items for the kitchen, Echizen ware is known as a simple, unadorned ceramic, notable for being fired without the use of enamel or decorative elements. Although modest, the visual appeal of Echizen ceramics is the earthen, reddish-brown, natural glaze that comes from the natural ash covering that dissolves into the clay while firing at a high temperature. The amalgamation of natural ash glaze and blended clay become yakishimi, or semi-porcelain, an earthenware between pottery and porcelain. This particular combination of ash and clay creates sturdy, leak-proof wares such as pots, jars, sake bottles, and teawares. The overall demand for Echizen wares was once quite high, declining during the Meiji period in favor of more modern ceramics. However, in the 1970s, Echizen Village was re-established, bringing a resurgence of historical interest and tourism for the Echizen yakiwares. Shigaraki ware is made near the town of Shigaraki in Shiga Prefecture. Shigaraki was thought to have originated in the 8th century when the Emperor Shomu had tiles fired for the construction of the Shigaraki Palace. Shigaraki wares are everyday wares: wide-mouthed jars, sake bottles, urns, and dishes. The development of the tea ceremony in the 16th century saw the production of tea bowls, water jars, vases, and bowls at this site. Shigaraki ware is made from a coarse soil, making the clay that is highly fire-resistant. Fired in an anagama kiln, the wares are known for their warm tones of orange, red, and pink, a result of the combination of the local white clay, the ash, and the iron oxides in the kiln. Portions of the pottery that are buried and scorched by ash take a brownish rusty glaze coloration. a kiln effect that is prized in tea utensils, as it exemplifies the aesthetic qualities of humble simplicity and beauty, wabi and sabi, desired by its practitioners. In 1976, Shigaraki ware was designated as a national town craft, and Shigaraki is popularly referred to as Shigaraki, the pottery town. Aichi Prefecture saw the development of tokoname ware around the city of Tokoname. Production of these wares began in the latter part of the 8th century, and the area was believed to have around 3,000 onigama kilns, making it the largest producing area amongst the 6 ancient kilns of Japan. A combination of large utilitarian vessels, like bottles and pots, and smaller items for tea ceremonies and flower arrangements were made here. The clay, collected from the Chita Peninsula, contains large amounts of iron, which develops into a rich, deep reddish brown during the firing. Both glazed and unglazed ceramics were made here. In the late 19th century, approximately 60 Noborigama kilns were built at the site, and tokoname wares expanded to include architectural water pipes and building tiles. Like Shigaraki, the techniques of tokoname wares are nationally registered as traditional handcrafts. Another ancient site in Aichi Prefecture became known for seto wares, which date back to the 13th century. Seto wares are known for both their masterful variety of glazes and the variety of ceramics produced. The clay used for seto wares turns white during firing due to a high level of feldspar in the clay, creating a beautiful canvas for multiple colored glazes. The favored and most traditional glaze is a watery green and brown ash glaze and was inspired by Song Dynasty green celadon and brown-black Tomoku glaze. Additionally, glazes can be yellow, black, red, green, white, light blue, and gray. Seto wares range from classical Yakushimi stoneware, sake bottles, flower vases, incense burners, and highly prized tea bowls. Further away in Hyogo Prefecture, at Kondo, in the city of Sasayama, Tamba ware was born in the early 1600s when a number of Waradake-gama kilns were erected. Original production consisted of small pots and bowls. However, by the middle of the Edo period, there was an expanse in production to include tea canisters, teapots, tea bowls, and small sake bottles. Tamba wares are known for their unique and individual pattern and kiln effect glazes. The effect comes from a combination of ash, the result of burning natural materials such as wood, straw, and rice husk during the firing, and the additional application of white enamel and a brick red akadobe slip glaze. The ashes, glazes, and variant levels of oxygen in each kiln chamber create a chemical reaction with and to the natural iron present in the clay. The kiln effects are unique to how each piece generated by the ash, glaze, and iron interactions, as well as how much and how directly the flames come into contact with the surface during firing. While many forms of pottery are turned during the firing process with a clockwise turning lathe, the lathes used for Tamba ware rotate in a counterclockwise direction, further delineating the production and unique kiln effects known to Tamba wares. The last of the historic kiln sites is located near the city of Bizen in Okayama Prefecture. Known primarily for its tea wares, this style peaked during the 16th century Moyoma period. Bizen ware is primarily unglazed pottery, known for its earthen reddish-brown color and simple rustic appearance. The unglazed pottery achieves its distinctive style from its kiln effects. Typically fired 10 to 14 days in either a traditional onigama or a noborigama kiln, the potters apply red pine for the firing as it retains a high temperature for a length of time. The ash and charcoal from the burning red pine melt into the unglazed clay, creating the characteristic charcoal black and ashen gray colors associated with Bizen ware. While over the years, ceramicists have tried glazing Bizen wares, the Heyosi clay, native to the area, is somewhat resistant to enamel, rendering the process both difficult and visually unbecoming. The glazed, natural appearance of Bizen wares embodies the aesthetic concept of wabi, an appreciation of the chilled and withered, and so, like Shigaraki wares, have long been prized as utensils for the tea ceremony. By the early 19th century, the 6 old kilns began production of brightly decorated glazed wares, primarily for everyday use. This style, aesthetically divergent from the ceramics of the 16th and 17th centuries, became the standard until World War II. The last century, however, has seen a revival of interest in the medieval styles of the six great kilns, and many contemporary clay artists are again working within these traditions, developing new and exciting results.